I'm Simon Keane-Cowell. I'm editor-in-chief at Architonic, and I'm delighted to be joined by Florian Alles. That is a great name, by the way. It translates as Florian Everything. Like, I want it all.
Absolutely.
Does it fit your personality?
Partly, I would say.
Oh, okay.
But in some fields, I want it all, yes.
Florian is a partner at Jasper Architects and leads the firm's Berlin office. Your professional experience spans Europe and the Middle East and Brazil and Argentina. Okay, this is where Alles comes into it. Reflecting a broad intercultural perspective on contemporary architecture. A graduate of the Technical University of Dresden with distinction. Clever. Florian is a member of the Berlin Chamber of Architects and a DGNB registered professional. Just tell us what DGNB means for non-Germans and non-architects.
It's a German Society for Sustainable Building.
Fantastic. It's brilliant. Is this a particular slide you want to show us at the start?
No, it's just, kind of accompanying what you said.
Look at that kind of that international spread. So a lot of activity down in South America.
Yes, so that's where the company was founded, actually, in 2008 by Martin Jasper.
Oh, it was founded in South America?
In Buenos Aires, yes.
Oh, Buenos Aires.
That was the start, kind of. And that's where I met him at the time as well. That's why we're in contact so long. Yes, it's us four managing the company, basically. So we have offices in Buenos Aires, in Asunción, which is the capital of Paraguay, in Berlin, and now we're starting in New York City as well. So that's pretty new.
Oh, exciting times.
Yeah.
And at Jasper Architects, you talk often about being context-driven. What does that really mean? What's that look like in terms of your approach, your research, your considerations?
To my understanding, that should be like the start for every good architect. But as we are building like in many different cultural contexts, it is extremely important to us that we understand very well where we are building, that we understand the context of the place, the materials, how the people use that place, and that kind of leads into our first conceptual ideas. That's what we understand by context-driven. But this is one of the projects, our most, let's say, important projects in Germany at least. After winning this competition, the Berlin office was founded, and here I can explain very well what we understand by context-driven. So this is a reuse of existing building, which was a compartment store in Berlin, like a big block in the center of the city with no connection to its surrounding city, let's say, 80 by 80 meters. And the competition exercise was to transform it into an office building. And what you would naturally do is like you cut a hole into it to have more light entering the building. But that would have been the easy way, so we kind of did a little bit of research and tried different ways, and that's when we decided to actually cut the holes from the facade line, which we called voids, and then use this to shape an iconic building, actually. So it's kind of the context-driven way is understanding the genius loci, as you say in architecture, like all the surroundings that play into decisions, and then work with that and create something new.
So on that particular project, you subtracted quite extensively from the existing volume.
Yes.
To create these cuts, to create these voids, and therefore light could penetrate far deeper into the...
Correct. So even by a length of 80 meters of the one facade line, it was like big enough to provide light for all the office places. And like the square meters we lost, we put on top with a lightweight lightweight structure.
Oh, to regain some of that
exactly,
floor space.
To regain the area. And we had to deal with an existing structure that was super strong from the 70s. So we literally cut out of the existing structure to create these voids, which then were stacked in a way that it would allow ideal lighting conditions for the interior spaces, and also create little balconies, let's say, for the people who had their offices there.
So light is fundamental, I guess, to the architectural creative practice, right? I mean, it's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It's there from the start.
Absolutely. I mean, that's has to do with context driven as well. Also, another example is like if we build in South America, of course, the natural light conditions are very different from Europe, for example.
Yeah, tell us about that. How does that affect architectural design then?
In South America, the light is, let's say, more intense than in Central Europe. It's stronger, the contrast is stronger. And architecture tries to create shade and filters towards the light, whereas in Central Europe or even in Northern Europe, what we just heard, you want to invite the light into your room as much as you can. That's maybe a difference. Yeah.
And so this plays out in how you shape space, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you show us an example of...
Yeah, that's an example from...
Where's this?
This is in Asunción in Paraguay. It's one of our biggest projects at the moment. There's, again, our conceptual approach, where you can see how we deal with a plot which is adjacent by two important streets, and we didn't want to block the connection between the two. On the contrary, we wanted to have our building be the way for people crossing and getting to the other road. And what we did with these towers is kind of we placed them in positions where they would get perfect lighting, let's say, to our residential, to our office. And also, as you can see, like we shape them in the way that they get smaller, the floor plans get smaller towards the top.
Tapering, yeah.
Tapering. That's one conceptual move that has to do purely with light.
Programmatically speaking, what is the use of this project?
It's 4 towers, and 2 are residential towers and 2 are office towers.
2 office towers.
And it has kind of a basis, retail, yes, and restaurants and parking as well. It's something which is not very common yet in this part of the world, is that you open your building really to the public and invite them in, rather than having like a door or a fence where you are being controlled. Has to do with inequality, of course. But that's something that we want to try here in this building. And
now, Little Bird told me that this is the project for which you specified Occhio when we think about artificial lighting. Is that right? Was this the one?
It is from the same client, but it's a different project. If you want, I can briefly jump to that. Yeah, actually, we got to know this brand. Well, I just zapping through all our projects.
Beautiful.
Which I could have said something to regarding light. This is something very interesting we did like 2 years ago, roughly, which is a design for a magazine. So it's nothing that will ever be built. Yeah, we were very, very happy to participate, and in this instance, we got to know Occhio and started working with them. And what worked very well with this project was that we were not speaking about technical requirements, but we spoke the same language when it comes to light. We spoke about spaces, about atmospheres, and how we can reach results. And this is the project that you were just mentioning. This is a penthouse on another tower, also in Asunción, for a private client. And it's actually an architectural dream. It's a person which is very wealthy, and this is a 3-story penthouse on top of a skyscraper.
Oh,
and there we could really design very special spaces for many different uses, materials, and the lighting not only accompanies, but
absolutely. Can we talk a bit about that? The relation between light, between natural light, artificial light, and materials, specifically kind of surface materials within interiors. How should they relate for you?
Well, everything has to go together, and that's why it's also important for us to have, if we should decide to work with a lighting designer, to get this company or this person on board, like in a very early part of the process. Because we want to be able to describe how we imagine these spaces, and we want to have all the designers like thinking in the same direction. And that way we manage to create these spaces as well. Coming back to your question, materials and light, of course, they belong together. Just in this rendering here, you see how the light reflects from this natural stone at the wall.
Right.
And of course, you try to work all the time with certain materials and certain lighting that accompanies it to reach certain effects.
Because there are certain materials that absorb light, there are others which are possibly too reflective.
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly. Some others, like this one, for example, gives like a very haptic feeling and a
Right.
very less organized.
That's
Yeah, and
beautiful.
this was kind of an architectural playground, which was really great fun because
This is the triplex, the three-story
exactly.
penthouse.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, this person wanted like many different rooms for many different uses. This is a cinema, for example. Then there's a music studio.
Oh.
Um,
Okay, now
whiskey bar,
I'm
you
getting properly jealous.
and it's on top of the
This
city.
is like
and it's
being at
really
Jana's
breathtaking.
house in Berlin.
And that was great fun. And this was what we did together with Occhio, yes.
There was also an Archeo project. Absolutely beautiful. Stunning. You mentioned lighting consultants there and the benefit of having them involved in the process from an early stage. Can you talk a bit about that relationship? Do you always see it eye to eye, or are there sometimes frictions?
Well, there are also frictions, of course, with all of the designers that need to work together in the way of creating a building interior spaces. Of course, there are different opinions and different ways of doing things, but we try to choose the ones with who we think alike most, and then
Not just the ones who say yes to everything you say.
No, on the contrary, no. That's what you don't want. No, but it needs to work as well. I mean, you're right. The best results obviously come from an interesting cooperation, where ideas come from both sides.
And I guess the more experience you have of working with a particular lighting consultant, the more you develop this relationship and this kind of mutual understanding, and
For a certain type
they can be a better sparring partner for you.
For a certain time of design, for sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of technology behind lighting products these days. Two questions, actually. The first one is, how do you keep yourself informed about what is actually on the market in terms of products? Do you rely on your lighting consultants to guide you there? And how do you go about ultimately specifying which lighting products you're going to feature in any one project?
There's really a lot on the market, you're right. And it depends very much on the project, really. So then we look into a different kind of product and solution, and then we dig deeper into it. And of course, we get input as well from the lighting consultants in some projects. But somehow we always make it work. I mean, me personally, I don't like too much technology.
Why is that?
I find it important, that the individuum still has a possibility to intervene somehow. No? If we're talking about like architectural interior lighting, it's similar like with windows. I mean, in many hotel rooms there are no windows anymore, even though there's perfect air conditioning, and some people have the urge to open a window when they feel like it. And I think it's always nice to design in a way that people can if they want to. It's the same with light, actually. I wouldn't want to have a space where everything is completely automatic. I would really like to have some kind of tableau or something where at least can intervene into something that I would want to have differently.
You mean you're not a fan of the fully automated, the Jacques Tati film Mon Oncle, the kind of house of the future that
Not really, no.
somehow comes to control you,
exactly.
rather than you controlling it. Yeah. As a DG, NB, registered professional, at least thinking along sustainable lines, what does that mean in the context of lighting, sustainability, do you think?
I guess the idea of sustainability is always very similar. I mean, when it comes to lighting, it's not only about electricity that we waste, but it's about the whole idea of being sustainable with modular systems or things that you can change yourself and that you can easily get. And I think it's truly sustainable if all these thoughts have been put into a product before it hits the market, kind of. And that's something that we try to support, of course, because we like that way. And I guess now we're on a good path and really understand what sustainability is really about. So if we go and look back to buildings that exist already more than 100 years in our cities and still can use for residential or office or anything else, that is really a sustainable solution.
Right. Oh, Florian, listen, you've been a fantastic guest. Thanks for letting us into your mind and also into the office's work. It's really...
Thank you very much.
These are really, really remarkable projects. Please put your hands together for Mr. Everything, Florian Alles from Jasper Architects.
Thank you.